Currently, there are 3 victory conditions. You can either kill your opponent's turret, kill your opponent, or pick up a 10 CS advantage past the 100 CS mark, or at least once you hit this 100 CS mark. So we'll see how this 1v1 matchup works out. Kalista, the 2-skill wonder. You don't get your W, you don't get your R, so no ultimate or Banshee coming out. But it turns out that Rend and Pierce are very strong skills. And of course, the passive probably doing the most work. One spear after another, getting stuck in Eve. And actually, the passive won't be in there. Oh, auto attack coming out should not really be possible in the 1v1 matchup. But you can really see Eve paying for that. At 46 armor, now 49 armor after leveling up. He's specking into that stat, but he is going to be taking a lot of harass here. I think he actually missed the shuriken and threw it out before his living shadow there. But I don't recall seeing Zefa take damage from that. Just poking out with auto attacks, realizing that he does have the sustain advantage, and because he has the range versus melee advantage as well, he doesn't really have to worry about having to use a whole lot of his sustain early. So this might be a matchup where he could have started a Doran's Blade instead and just relied on that extra HP to be a good defensive stat to have versus Eve's all-in, but instead just going to go for the sustain. He actually didn't use his spear to bond, his black spear to bond with a Mumu to start things out, which we have seen a few Kalistas do. Doesn't give you any advantage, but it does take the item out of your item pool in case you do make it up to that 6-item slot situation. Now, as far as Eve versus Zefa, you heard checks say it a little bit earlier on today. Neither one of them players that have had incredibly good performances so far in LCK, so you're not going to be looking for like a crazy, insane advantage for one of them over the other as far as innate 1v1 abilities are concerned, but just the ability to play AD carries, and specifically Kalista here for Zefa, a champion that we've actually gotten a chance to see in Champions before. Of course, not quite as much as we've seen it in other international regions. Oh, there's the Pierce coming out onto Eve, into a Rend, and you're just seeing very little counterplay for Eve. And at this point, he just becomes a desperate battle to see how much CS he can possibly get before he's forced to go back to base. And with only 14 creeps at this point in the game, he's a long way off from that Brutalizer, and of course, probably will be looking at Doran's Blades when he goes back to base. 1 or 2, possibly only 1. With as little CS as he's getting. So he's going to stay far back from the creep wave and make sure that he's not missing too much CS, but he's continuing to use this Living Shadow relatively ineffectively, and he actually missed out on the cannon minion creep. That is going to be a big deal when it comes to buying this next either mid-tier item in the Brutalizer, which would be a very big luxury, or of course putting out just a couple of extra long swords. Might just go for long swords over the Doran's Blades, given that they're a little bit cheaper and they do provide you with more overall attack damage, even though you get less lifesteal. Eve's not really doing all that much last hitting. And the health shouldn't actually matter all that much when he comes back from base, assuming that he's just going to go for the all-in off of the level 6 death mark. So Eve, I'm not sure he'll actually even try for the all-in when he hits level 6 here before going back to base, because that would mean that he would come back from base. But oh, Ren going down, or Pierce rather, underneath that turret. There's the ignite. Whoa, the flashback outwards, and even with an ignite, he baited Zefa into his Living Shadow. Zefa making a huge mistake and not respecting that Living Shadow positioning. He dashes forward with martial cadence, takes a turret shot, and at this point it's an easy decision by Eve to throw down the ignite. Force damage not mitigated, flashing on in there, not a summoner spell that Zefa has. Zefa went too far forward, took a turret shot. Of course, he's going to give up game number 2 here.